Good morning, Gardenia. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Adam versus the Man. Got a packed show for you today. Yesterday's show with the Reverend Captain Kickass of Keene, New Hampshire on the King 6 was really just an awesome interview. If you missed that yesterday, that's worth going back. And if you don't want to hear the whole hour or so that we did together, at least go look up our show notes, available exclusively on our public Telegram channel, t.me/Adam versus the Man. And know what happened to the Keene 6, excuse me, the Crypto 6 of Keene, New Hampshire, I suppose we should call them now, as the Reverend would like them to be referred to for now, at least as the Crypto 6, arrested for crypto crimes. Check it out. Activists, friends of mine, arrested in trouble. We definitely want to support them as we can right now. So today, because of that interview yesterday, we missed two of our three COVID blocks. All right, we had COVID so bad yesterday, we had to cover it in three blocks: COVID fear, COVID vax, COVID enforcement. We got to COVID fear. There was plenty of fear, of course, with the shooting yesterday or the day before yesterday in Georgia. More information coming out as predicted about the killer. Nothing groundbreaking, revelationary. We'll probably come back to that story when there's a little more complete understanding. But for now, the cops are writing this off as he had a bad day, and it resulted in this. But I suppose it is looking like there is one important thing sort of coming out of these stories about the Georgia killer. That it was, we saw this yesterday. It was like, well, 6 out of the 8 victims were Asian, but 2 weren't. Doesn't sound like it's really racially motivated. So the exact details, will be coming out, and we'll come back to this. I don't think we're missing that story. But today we're going to catch up on the COVID vax block, the COVID enforcement block, and we have a great guest today, Ken from KNTX with the Hexicans, the Hex New Crypto Discord Syndicate. All right, can't wait, excellent. And I'll say this again when we get, I guess we're going to call him the pirate captain of the Hexicans, and then let him decide how he wants to be referred to and identify himself for the purposes of today's interview. But I'm not endorsing Hex as a crypto. I am endorsing the concept of people exploring alternative money systems that work for them. And there's a lot of stuff in the crypto space that's scammy or scams from the beginning, and there are a lot of things that turn into scams or vulnerable to government agents sneaking in and making them look like scams. And there's so much. That's part of what makes it an exciting thing to talk about and to get into. The wild frontier of cryptocurrency still is you can get arrested for just holding it. Well, maybe not just holding it, but for moving it around a little bit. You can get arrested. Financial crimes, all that silly stuff. So, good guest today, great guest today. Really excited because I did an hour and a half interview on his show, and he's a blast to talk to. So we're gonna get into that. Top of the hour, Ken will be joining us, the pirate captain of the Hexicans, and then we've got some trans issues in the news. Even just saying it right now, I'm thinking like, wow, are we just being distracted by this bullshit? Well, if you were born with a penis, you can't play sports with people who weren't born with penises. That's just how sports work. There's a reason this is coming up. # super straight. And we have our producer, our former executive producer, now CEO, CJ Abernathy, got kicked off TikTok, apparently for some of his comments about this. The basic concept of super straight is that if trans women are women, we accept that. Like, in a way, to me at least, when I heard this term, super straight, it actually seems like a recognition that a trans woman is a woman. You identify as a woman. What's in your head and your self-identity is more important than your biology. That's what I say. if you say, hey, I have the brain of a woman in the body of a man, please identify me and address me as a woman because my brain is more important than my body. Fuck yeah. Call you what you want. Be respectful. Absolutely. You have the full right. Totally support that. And even, identifying, what is important in the definition, what is a man or a woman. It's your brain, your perspective, not your body. And I think that's a really important human assertion to make. Why do we need the super straight designation then? Well, if I'm straight, which means I'm a man attracted to women in my case, how do I differentiate myself from a man who's attracted to women of all sexual categories, including those who used to be men? Well, I guess I'm super straight. I'm only attracted to women who are biologically born women, and that this is true in my case. I'm aside from being odd gender, but anyway, we're going to come back to this because CJ says that they are going on a digital genocide. Is that what you called it? Did he use pretty sensationalistic term and not an inappropriate metaphor in the digital realm as we see what's going on in this latest round of pushback against the term super straight, which is like, yeah, no, I'm respecting that trans people are the gender they identify as. Please respect that that's not attractive to me. Like, do I need to identify as super straight? I'm not like so insecure about my sexuality that I can just say, oh yeah, I'm straight. I don't have to go around saying I'm straight, but I'm not attracted to women who used to be men. I don't really need a term for that, but now there's a term for that. Super straight. So we're going to get into that after our guest. But first, let's get producer Jim up on screen here. Notes and promos, Mr.
What's
Producer.
going on? I got all the videos prepped for you. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. There's gonna be a lot of triggered people, I think, and a lot of deep discussion, and that's what we're here for, because it is.
Did I trigger people already? Did I manage
maybe
to trigger
possibly people? Probably, I don't know. It's
if what I said triggered you, CJ is gonna blow a hole in your grave.
Yeah, that's what I was foreseeing. He's gonna do one for people. It's gonna be an interesting conversation. Let's just say that. As far as promos go, you were telling people earlier about the public Telegram channel they can join, which is awesome. T.me/Adam versus the man. We also have another Telegram group that's similar to that one, but it's a private group chat. And that one is our producers club, we call it. So if you want access to the private group chat that we have, then you can head over to our website, adamversustheman.com. Like you see on the bottom of the screen, you'll see this beautiful page right here. You may see updated pictures on it soon. Once you get to this page, you can click on this Patreon link right here, and it'll bring you directly to Adam's Patreon, and you can pick which level to join to help the show with. $1, $5, or $10 a month. $10 a month is what gets you access to that producers club I was mentioning. So check that out. Read the details. Definitely a cool way to support the show and be more involved. After you do that, you can go back to the website and check out the shop that CJ has put together there. He's got a bunch of cool items with the Freedom logo, Adam versus the Man logo on t-shirts, backpacks, coffee mugs, towels, pretty much all the basic items that you can think of. So definitely go give that a check. Just click on this load more button a few times at the bottom of the screen so you can see all the items, because they don't give you everything on the first page. And then after that, after you're done clicking on all these, like you want to, this Hug Life, one of my favorite shirts. It's pretty awesome. I love this one. I need to get one of these because that's just a cool looking, like the whole thing about this shirt is just cool. So after you're done purchasing your stuff, though, just move your cursor up to the top right here where it says Cigar Federation, and go ahead and give that a click and check out our affiliate program. This is a whole website worth of exotically flavored cigars that are delicious. I've personally had the JSK Nugs with Adam on one of his Cigars and Sunsets episodes. So definitely, I can personally recommend those. You can check those out. And if you use promo code Adam10, Adam10, all caps, you can get 10% off of your entire order there. So definitely check that out. That's Lastly, I just now realized that I forgot to pull up the Instagram. So I have that. I have that now. That's how quickly I just pulled it up. So if you go to Instagram and type in @theGardenOfFreedom, you can check out all the latest things that he's got going on up there in Gardenia. You got a picture of Marilyn's first birthday. I meant to say that. Doesn't that mean it's Marilyn and Falcor's first birthday?
I thought so, but I was at the Yaples yesterday, and Mother Nature's Den looks like they're going to be joining us as our next affiliate partner. Really excited about that, and they may be our. No, I think we can say this sort of one way or another. I'm sort of careful about the legality here, but cannabis being recreationally legal in Arizona, and with our 501c3 nonprofit status with Homefront Battle Buddies, we are maintaining a separation here. But for our first Homefront Battle Buddies retreat, which is happening for our board members April 3 to May 2nd here in Gardenia, we have a cannabis caterer lined up. Yes. It may be administratively entirely separate from the C3 and something that the C3 event merely facilitates between veterans. But one way or another, we have a cannabis caterer available or already for the weekend with the Yaples going to be coming and making sure that everybody here is super hooked up for that weekend and leaves super educated as well. So that's very exciting. And if you go back to that Instagram, you can also find it on the top of my Twitter. We're still recruiting the as long as it's current. That recruiting flyer will be pinned at Adam versus the Man. Excuse me, at Adam Kokesh on Twitter. So please check that out. We're looking for help with Homefront Battle Buddies, Adam versus the Man, and of course the Gardenia Sovereignty Project and all the other related fun stuff we've got going on here in Gardenia.
Yay, good times, man. What's that?
Anything else, Mr. Producer?
No, that's it. I'm ready to produce a very confrontational show here.
Is it going to be that bad? I don't think so.
My only argument, not even argument, I'll say this. My question, I've heard it said that they want you to put a dick in your mouth or else you're transphobic, and I personally haven't heard that yet. I guess I haven't heard that direct. I get that people are being canceled because they're calling themselves super straight, and I think that's highly ridiculous. But my last point that I'll make before I get off and let CJ tear everyone apart is
in an hour. We're gonna come back to this. We got headlines to cover.
Okay, my bad. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it in an hour then. Let's
Jim, you can come back. I know you're gonna have to jump in. Steven's gonna have to jump in. CJ's gonna have to jump in. But yeah, we're gonna come back to the trans issue. Do we have Steven there with the comments?
Yeah, he's here.
All right, Steven. What's the audience up to so far this morning? You're muted. Good co-host.
Yeah, I'm a fuckhead. I'm sorry. By the way, we need to be inclusive and everyone say hello to Karen this morning. She's also going to co-host. Seriously, Adam, before we get into this show, can we all just smoke a little bit of weed so we can chill the fuck out?
Yeah. No, it's slow me down just a little bit this morning. Yeah, because we have two big blocks, three big blocks really. We got to get international as well. We got to do COVID vax, COVID enforcement, international, and then we get to our grab bag block called stimulus, drugs, and porn, which probably won't get past the first trans story.
So I need to do a shout out to You Know Who You Are. I was in downtown chat the other day, and a watcher of the show gave me some hemp cigarettes.
Very nice. And as a pleasant smoke of just a little CBD or even minimal CBD and no THC, as a way to quit if you've got that like oral fixation part of your nicotine habit. I mean, I smoke. I'll say my nicotine consumption principle is 1 cigar a day or 2 tiny hand-rolled cigarettes a day.
Okay.
And just so people know, the way I think about this is for the level of enjoyment that I get out of it, and for the amount of health risk that that represents compared to all the pollutants that we're exposed to in our regular lives, and much less out here in Gardenia, by the way. Very clear skies, very clean air. It's relatively insignificant compared to all the pollution that we breathe in from fossil fuels. But if you're a cigarette smoker who smokes manufactured, chemically soaked, uh, fiberglass filtered, manufactured cancer sticks, and you're doing a pack a day or 2 packs a day, that's dumb. I see people do that and they don't even fucking enjoy it. It's sad. It's like it becomes just almost an involuntary habit, and that's the tragedy of how maybe reasonable, healthy, balanced nicotine tobacco use conscientious as a sacrament, as has been done by native and ancient populations throughout human history, has been perverted by American commercialism and consumerism, and it's something that is fucking killing us, like almost more than anything else. And maybe not now, but it's one of the leading causes of health impairment and reduction in quality of life and early death in the United States. And it's fucking sad because smoking doesn't have to be that, well, you smoke 2 packs a day in secret and you're slowly killing yourself and not even enjoying it. And it's been led to that. So anything that you can do to break away from that kind of habit, like a pack a day, even half a pack a day, even a few manufactured cigarettes a day, to me, it's gross. Why have all those poisons when you can have clean tobacco at very least? The ritual of rolling a little cigarette slows you down, makes you enjoy it more, prepares you, makes you, for me at least, receptive of the nicotine better, I think. And hemp cigarettes, a lot of that, this oral fixation, you can satisfy and separate yourself from the nicotine and the chemical fix. A lot of people are addicted not just to the nicotine, not just the tobacco, but the chemicals in manufactured cigarettes, and that's fucking sick. And one thing I gotta say, like, I'm not gonna say, hey, don't ever smoke. Like, no, fucking live your life, enjoy life, do drugs, party, have fun, take risks, be smart about it. All things in moderation, especially moderation. But smoking that crap, fuck no. Please, everybody, if you can, if you value your life and your health, get away from that manufactured daily smoking habit. Does that make sense? And I love it. I love hemp cigarettes as they're enjoyable. It's not something I think I would do like regularly, but people have them around, I'll bum one. They're fun, they're nice, they're pleasant, they taste good. So I think they're really a good potential bridge for a lot of people to get away from that really sick nicotine habit.
So here's what we're gonna do, because I do need some help from some people in the audience. I didn't assign a winner yesterday, so today we're gonna assign two. We're going to leave one for the trans section, and in the trans section, if you tell somebody to kill themselves, I will address it. If you do it a second time, I'm gonna put you in timeout for 5 minutes. I kind of have an issue with banning people forever, but I feel like if you've escalated to that point, I got to put you in timeout like a 5-year-old.
Today, CJ is going to show us the limit of acceptable hostility on this show with his TikTok clip. But what are your two contests then?
So my two contests are the funniest trans thing, like funniest trans comment.
Okay.
Here's the other one. I've done Delta 8, Delta 9, and THC, like the gummies. And everyone says that when you eat them, you're supposed to get like super fucking baked. And I don't. So, I ate 400 milligrams last night. And did dishes and like did some shit around the house. And I was like, there's a thunderstorm and a tornado. And I was hoping I would like kind of trip balls a little bit. And nothing happened. So I need people to explain to me what I should be eating. Someone said that I might need brownies, and I don't know if brownies hit harder than gummies.
Well, Stephen, it is possible for certain people's biology, just based on maybe your gut bacteria, your enzyme balance, your body chemistry, and a whole other host of metrics, that you have to take 10 times the normal dose of edibles to get the same effect as some people, because you waste most of it by digesting rather than absorbing it, perhaps, right? Or it could be that your channel for absorbing is turned off completely. That's true for some people with a whole variety of cannabinoids and different means of absorption.
You're going to cut me open and turn that switch on. We're going to cut my ass open and turn that fucking switch.
Well, it might be that that there are different things, and this is where I hit the limit of my expertise, and I would defer to our cannabis caterer, who you're going to get to meet in a while, and at some point, as executive director of Homefront Battle Buddies for you, and chairman of the board for myself, and Mr. and Mrs. Yapel there, as our cannabis caterers, we're going to sit down and make a plan, and make them available. This is something they like to do anyway, by the way. And there are a lot of people out there who are not veterans, who are cannabis enthusiasts, who just want to spread the gospel and help vets. And so to have like a consulting service, maybe a veterans alternative therapy 24-hour hotline eventually. By the way, crazy idea I had about Homefront Battle Buddies this morning.
Okay.
What about a sister organization for former cops?
That might help all of America. Maybe like the cop in Galveston, because he's about to be a former cop.
All right, we're going to come back to that story. What did you say what your second contest is?
Yeah, so explain to me how I can trip fucking balls. I want to lick the wall. I want to taste the snozberries.
Okay, so suggestions to get fucked up on cannabis edibles. Second contest. First one, funniest about trans. Jim, did you have something?
Yeah, sorry. It sounded like you were about to kick him off and get right to the thing. And I wanted to do one last producer note, because I just got word from our guest, and they said the captain may not be able to make it. Huge things happening in his industry he has to attend to. I am his co-host and business partner on Discourse, and I'll be bringing one of the most concise speakers in Hex with him. So our guest is still the same topic, but it's going to be their co-host and somebody else instead. Just so you know the distinction.
Yeah, get me those names by direct message and Telegram so I can introduce them properly. Thank you for the heads up.
Okay.
All right, one more note, Stephen, and then you're gone. We're gonna get into these headlines. Funniest trans comment. I want to say something about that. And this is in the spirit of comedy and love. There was a time I remember when making jokes about being gay was like, oh, you can't do that. That's sensitive. And I was like, fuck you. Being straight is hilarious. Being gay better be funny. Like, can we make jokes about, like, how do you touch pee holes? Like back when gay was like even like a novel idea for comedy in the US to some degree, right? And I was always like, no, fucking be able to laugh at yourselves. And I say we go into the trans debate with the same spirit of love and comedy, that making fun of the situation can be in love and celebration, but mean jokes, we don't do that. And to a certain degree, that won't be tolerated. So it's not, are you making a joke about, or are you making fun of, but is the point of the joke to cut someone down, not to make fun of reality or something that's obvious. But if it's to hurt someone or like that, there is a line in comedy, and it's not, is it making fun of something? What is the actual point of the joke? And if it's to hurt someone or cut someone down or demean someone, unless you're an asshole, that shit's not funny, and we're not going to promote that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be when you made the comment earlier in the show 10 minutes ago, the comments just lit the fuck up. And there's enough good comments for me to just keep going with comments. So I've got a feeling that I'm going to see some shit where it's like, when I call you an esophagus, you fucked up. You should have been swallowed.
All right, man. So, hey, for these COVID blocks, you just keep the crazy trans comments coming if you want. But let's jump into it. We got to stay on schedule today. So for our let's officially. Sorry, we can't rush. We're gonna go fast. Slow is smooth. smooth as fast. Please, Jim, play our video to introduce this next block of medical misinformation. Misleading medical advice brought to you by Adam versus the Man. All right, catching up with the situation on the vaccines for that virus, which shall not be named. Oh, wait, we're in the Corona block. This is all parody, not misleading medical advice. From the Associated Press, EU regulator convinced AstraZeneca benefit outweighs risk. The European Union's drug regulator insisted Tuesday there's no indication the AstraZeneca vaccine causes blood clots. As governments around the world face the grimmest of dilemmas, push on with a vaccine known to save lives or suspend its use over reports of clotting in some recipients. And where is this coming from? Yeah, people are dying. People are getting blood clots as one of the emerging clusters of symptoms from the vaccines. And I don't do a lot of these like anecdotal stories like, oh, someone got the vaccine, they died 4 days later, because we didn't really do that with COVID, because we didn't use it to push fear of COVID. We're not going to use it to push fear of the vaccine. And overall, they're both about as deadly, so we're about as relevant as a cause for concern. Both, I mean, they say, oh no, the vaccine only kills a few people, so it's relatively safe and you should get it. Well, COVID kills relatively few people, so it's relatively safe and you should get it. No, there's your misleading medical advice. But right now, the push over the conflict over the vaccines is centered around the side effect of blood clots. And one of the problems with this is we know that from the beginning, the drug manufacturers all got government to protect them from liability. So if they hurt people with the vaccines, they can't get sued. That should be the red flag to everybody. Like, no, if you're going to put something in my body, take responsibility for it. Don't use government to protect you from taking responsibility. Holy shit, do I really have to explain this to people? But yeah, like, don't let people put something in your body if they say, by the way, if something's fucked up, I totally don't take responsibility for this. Like, you can't hold me accountable even. But anyway, Bloomberg, next headline to MSN.com, drug makers push vaccines for kids amid debate over need for shot. Children have fared better than adults in the coronavirus pandemic, a fact that makes the development of vaccines for them a unique effort in the annals of medical science. No, people have pushed bullshit science and medicine to profit for decades. I mean, maybe it's really as old as human history. You want to go back? I'm sure there were some corrupt tribal medicine men at some point in human history. Historically pediatric, but nowhere near, of course, at the scale of evil or the scope of application as we see in the modern pharmaceutical industry. Historically, pediatric vaccines have focused on killer childhood diseases, but the pandemic has thrown a curve into that thing. And while the virus has been a deadly force among older adults, it's been shown to be mild in the young, with deaths relatively minimal. Eventually this might be something that we understand, kind of like chickenpox. Give it to kids when they're young, so it doesn't hurt them, and then they have the immunity. If you protect children from that and they get it later, then it might hurt them, right? That could, I'm totally, that's speculative, but from what we think we know about the virus at this point, that's certainly a possibility. So to Reuters, for what's happening in Italy, back to Italy. Italy prosecutor sees batch of AstraZeneca vaccine after death of man. And it makes me think that they've got us in this big mental Chinese finger trap. And you just have to reject all of the incorrect premises of their case here in order to really understand the situation. And to resist and to not fall into it, because if you think of society as a whole, like, what do I mean by this finger trap? Well, the virus is bad, but don't worry, we got the vaccine. Give us money. Oh, the vaccine. Well, we have to pull it back now. It's like there's no, like, they don't care that all the people profiting from the lockdowns, and the real string pullers of the system, they don't really care if, oh, well, we got the vaccine out. We can still pull it back at any time. Oh yeah, we have. It's so devoid from truth, from how humanity does the best thing to address this biological event that really is relatively normal or a relatively regular thing within the global human petri dish, pandemics in the modern era of mild upper respiratory diseases. That's kind of a thing. SARS, swine flu, bird flu, all the other scary 4-letter viruses that they've made hay out of in the last few decades. So in Italy, yeah, they're actually taking the vaccines back. Now, how much of that is, well, this vaccine is bad and this vaccine is good? We don't fucking know because it's government doing it, and you can't trust that. It's not done with transparency from the beginning. So maybe they're taking that back so the competitor's vaccine can sell more units. It's just, we if anything, I mean, I really hope that, again, this is back to this theme that I haven't touched on for a while. It is so important that we, the people, write the history of COVID and not they, the people who force these policies on us, so that we remember it and we learn the lessons and we see, again, and this is regardless of what you believe, we know that the government lies. At least, I mean, I suppose even the most pro-government boot-licking authoritarian personality types have to admit that even by their most delusional, well-intentioned concept of government, occasionally bad people sneak in who are corrupt and lie in the name of government, and we need to purify government, whatever their bullshit line is. But even then, well, let's learn these lies. Let's learn how government, whatever its core intent or intent of most people in it is, let's learn how it's used to fuck with our ability to take care of each other. USA Today, vaccine passports should be free, private, and secure, White House says, but who will be issuing them? Yes, a passport issue. The federal government shouldn't be involved in verifying that people have been vaccinated against COVID-19, the White House says. Whatever process is developed should be free, private, and secure. It's not the role of government to hold that data and do that. This is going to be really interesting. Like, if you got the vaccine, the whole vaccine passport thing, even if you got the vaccine now, is your record going to hold up in the system later? And if that's the case, is the system going to be so reliable that it's going to be hard to fake? I mean, if you just go, I don't want to get the vaccine, but I want to make it look like I did, are you going to be able to just put your name on a piece of paper and predate it? And if they can't look it up in the system, they can't say shit. Because it's in this place where there isn't a record that you can access from your digital system, or you get it in the system some other way, or just I mean, maybe do they have to have a cop or a judge or a notary watch the injection go into your body? They're going to be, at some point, I think it's going to be a common thing that when doctors give you the vaccine, if it's an issue, hey, do you want me to just squirt this on the ground and sign the paperwork like I put it in you? And yet they're trying to enforce this, really, I want to say like nothing before, but then you think, well, what are the equivalents of this? Government schools for kids, got to have your shots, got to have your vaccine, got to have your paperwork in. There are exceptions. People get around it. You can opt out. You can unschool, homeschool, whatever. But maybe not according to government, with one of the stories we got coming up here, and students getting fined for not going to school. Yes, let's get ahead to that. So Wall Street Journal, ticket, passport, add a COVID vaccination card to the list of must-have travel documents. British Airways is offering all passengers vaccination details to smooth travel plans. And if I hate to say to cede any ground, but if this really does stay with us as a motivation for fear in the nature of the virus and its relationship to the whole human family doesn't fundamentally change, we're going to have instant tests, and maybe it's not perfectly instant, like finger prick and your blood is analyzed in 15 minutes. I would would rather keep getting tested like that than get a vaccine at points where they need it. So they're going. It's tempting to see these things. Oh, they're going to require this. Well, how are they really enforcing it? What does require mean? What are the exemptions? Can you just you say they require children to go to public schools in America if they don't go to government licensed private schools? Well, that's sort of true. But pretty much everywhere in America, you can opt out of that with your kids in homeschool or unschool or something else. There are different hurdles you have to clear. The fact that you have to get government permission to do that and not the other way around is pretty backwards. But hey, we have a super chat interrupting. Brian Webb joining us. All right, from California, I believe. $10. Bribe a data entry clerk. $20. The price of a copay, and you may be said, yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for giving me those terms there, Brian. Because that really does give people a sense of like, yeah, how's it going to work? You just slip somebody $20, or that's like sort of worst case. But that's you get it in the records, not just a piece of paper that is maybe questionable. But even that, the prick test, like it. If there really was, like, just because people shouldn't be afraid doesn't mean that we should deny that people are afraid. And if there really was something legitimate to be afraid of, it would be a reasonable thing for them to say, hey, before you get in this enclosed space with a bunch of people in this private area, we ask that you either show that you've had the vaccine or that you get a prick test. I'd actually, if there was a real thing, I mean, you want people to have both if it was a real threat. We know it's not a real threat because of John Kerry. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But if you can just test, if it's a really secure thing, it's get everybody tested or make everybody wear masks, not make them put a vaccine in their body that doesn't guarantee that they don't have it and aren't communicable anyway. The thing about the vaccine, just as a matter of logistics, if someone gets the vaccine and they can still get the virus and they can still transmit it, but with this vaccine, you have certain individuals who legitimately, by severe health conditions, can't and shouldn't get any vaccine like this at all, right? Are they not allowed to fly? Do they have to wear hazmat suits because the guy with the vaccine sitting next to them is allowed to come on like it's nothing? See, there's so many just logical holes in this whole COVID narrative. It's impossible to even take the core concept of it seriously. But then you look at it yourself and you put it in perspective. Washington Post, FAA to extend zero tolerance policy for bad behavior while federal mask mandate is in place. Remember all these assholes trying to defend Donald Trump? Well, it wasn't really him. It was the state governors responsible for the lockdowns and the shutdowns. Hello, national state of emergency. Hello, federal mask mandate in place. No, this came from the top. Trump was responsible for letting all of the other forces push us into the situation, or for selling out himself, or for secretly driving it. I mean, I wouldn't put that past him. But remember, he did a 180 on this. So the Federal Aviation Administration said it is reviewing some 450 cases of passengers behaving badly on airline flights and has opened 20 formal enforcement cases as flight attendants continue to grapple with people refusing to comply with orders to wear masks aboard airplanes. Interesting. CBS News, meanwhile, Spirit Airlines kicks 4-year-old boy with autism off flight for not wearing a mask. Yeah, it gets worse. Don't worry, we have worse stories. Here we go to Galveston. If you want to jump up on screen real quick, Stephen, so we can still get to our guest on time. Arrest warrant issued. This is khou.com. Arrest warrant issued for maskless woman who police say wouldn't leave Galveston Bank. Police body cam video shows the officer asked Terry Lynn Wright to put on a mask to leave. She refused, and things escalated from there. So, Stephen, can you summarize this for us and why you think it's important?
Yeah, so let's talk about what happened before the cop shows up. She walks in. She's told, you can't be here without a mask. She goes, I'm here to close down my bank account because of your mask policies. They said, cool, go to the drive-thru if you refuse to wear a mask. She went to the drive-thru, and they said, no, you have to come in. You have to come inside. You have to sit down in one of the little cubicle things. She walked inside. They said, put a mask on. She said, you need to figure out what you want me to do and then tell me. And they said, ma'am, you can't shut down a bank account unless you're inside, and you can't be inside unless you wear a mask. And she called somebody, walked back inside, and said, hey, you're violating the law. I have a right to shut down my bank account. And what they're not fucking telling you is they did not call 911. A banker called her brother, who is a cop. So the cop brother walks in and goes, "Hey, I'm Deputy Dan. Look at me. I'm gonna beat your little ass because you're an old woman and I'm a physically fit army soldier. Bang, bang, pop, pop." So
Not exact words, but close enough.
he's illiterate anyways, and he's a fuckstick. So,
Well,
Mrs.
what was the relation to the woman?
Say what?
Wait, the guy was the banker's brother.
Yeah.
You mean not the woman's brother? Okay.
Yeah. So Mrs. White did what we should all do when dealing with the government. And she's countersuing.
Yeah.
Because she gets arrested, she gets taken to jail. An inmate tells her to put her fucking mask on, and she says, "I don't wear mask." So an inmate bounces her head off of a table a few times, and they decided that what they had to do to properly intervene for officer safety was let the inmate beat this 59-year-old woman's ass and put a gas mask on and then walk over there with 15 cops with a gas mask because COVID, motherfuckers, COVID. So here's what I'm hoping. Mrs. White, I think that me and you may be long lost cousins. Because she's gonna get a fucking payout. They let her get her ass handed to her by a fucking criminal in jail. And I shouldn't say that because I don't know what the other inmate was charged with. They may have been charged with a victimless crime.
Well, no, that's insane behavior. Unless someone is like forcing themselves into your 6-foot bubble, assaulting someone for not wearing a mask is literally contradictory behavior that can really only be the product of insanity. And remember, a lot of the people in America's prison system today are people who belong in psychologically psych facilities and or assisted living facilities for people with major mental health issues, not in jail. And you put them in jail, and it's you're punishing them for being crazy, putting them in worse stressors. Of course, you put a woman like this in front of them, they're not going to know what to do, or they're going to a lot of their mental health issues are related to anger and violence, petty violence. To fight, women beating each other up in jail. It's not thoughtful, high destruction and loss of life. It's just out of control, low impulse control, mental health based behavioral issues. And then they take the other half of people in society like that and they put them in blue costumes and give them guns and badges, and they get to do the same thing with impunity outside the jail.
Yep. So while I'm on, I want to address the comments real quick. Patricia Lewis and Patricia Lewis and John Smith are in a running for the How to Get High. Patricia says, "Steven, flip some cow patties, Steven." And then John Smith says, "A bottle of Dramamine will make you lose your shit." I don't know how to say this.
Hold on. The first one is a suggestion to do mushrooms, right? And because there's a significant tradition of collecting psychoactive mushrooms from cow patties. It's very insignificant now. There are enough like proper commercially grown, produced mushrooms that are safe and the right kind and that kind of stuff. I don't, unless you put the time and effort into doing it right. I don't suggest actually just picking random mushrooms. And it is dangerous. You can't just go, oh, it matches the picture. You really have to know your stuff.
Is Patricia trying to get me killed?
No, I think that was just a fun way of saying try mushrooms. The real reason I want to respond to this, I don't think mushrooms were much of a sleep aid. Maybe there's a different way of using them than microdosing, but
and then
John get more high.
John Smith once again says, "My dog is a trans cat."
All right, back to the COVID block. Thank you for that Galveston update. Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck to them, to Terry Lynn Wright, Mrs. Wright in Galveston, Texas, in pursuing her case and being appropriately compensated and seeking justice I would just point out, to bring this back to COVID policy, all this could have been avoided by the bank respecting Texas law, which says that you have the lockdowns, or even the federal law that they're attempting to base their policy on, that anybody can say, I have a medical exemption, and you cannot deny them service legally. You can deny them access to space where other people are. That's fine. You can, but you have to go serve them at the curb. You have to accommodate them, or at a drive-through, or in a means that accommodates them not wearing a mask. And it really is a weird backwards thing where the law with the masks, it's not even law. It's being over enforced. I know that doesn't make it unusual in the history of American law enforcement, but it is almost like especially backwards that people, in the name of enforcing the law, are enforcing things that aren't law, and they're using the law as an excuse to enforce their personal or business preferences. And that is a really just fucked up wrinkle in this whole mess. Brian says my pet rock is a trans politician. All right.
Job than most politicians. But seriously, what happened to social distancing? If I'm 6 feet away from you, why the fuck do I need a mask on?
Yeah, well, you can't be. You got to have 2 masks too. You can't be safe enough.
Well, the only time I wear a mask is when I'm protesting and there's violent people, and maybe I've decided the government building shouldn't exist anymore. Well, I didn't say that.
All right, well, one of the reasons I was a little late this morning, we're going to have the details and maybe a guest or a caller tomorrow talking about the mask burning protest that's happening in Phoenix. Hopefully Jim can get there and maybe cover that for us. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then somebody else wanted to know, are you getting the vaccine? And
I just quick on that. If you have a compelling reason to get it, like for work, it's going to make your life easier, it's going to appease stupid people, it's worth it. It might be and you do your research on the vaccine they want you to get, it might be worth a slight compromise or risk to your health to appease stupid people who have something that you want. Like, I'm not saying it's don't ever get it, but like, I don't have any reason to. Like, I live off grid, I own all my own operations here. I don't have to go to work in person. I have no for traveling. I don't mind driving if I absolutely have to. So no, it's not really an issue for me. I don't think I ever will. And I'm pretty sure that, like, when we flew to Hawaii recently, we got tested before we went. That's what I'm saying. Like, you might have prick tests at the door a lot more. But that's I'd rather do that.
Well,
let's get back to our COVID block. We've got our guests backstage, but now my internet's being really slow and I can't load this. Anyway, all right, back to the COVID block. We're gonna wrap it up. Okay, so for the details on the mask burning protest in Phoenix, a guy emailed me, didn't send me a link. I Googled it, couldn't find it. I think it's being suppressed by Google. But we're going to have someone call in the show tomorrow, and we'll have details on the mask burning protest in Phoenix. I know it's not going to be before 10 a.m. All right, back to the headlines. This next one, if you could pull it up on Twitter, just a quick, fun, anecdotal story. A 5-year-old girl kicked off a ski mountain for not wearing a mask. From thegatewaypundit.com, exclusive: New York City judge removes 6-year-old from mother because she didn't wear a mask while dropping her off at school. Fucking insanity. Now, Dropbox.com has this New York City low-risk indoor arts and entertainment guidelines for reopening New York. Crazy stuff in there for being... And just what I get out of this is it's now... It is a new level of medical tyranny where, does your business open? I don't know. Let's ask the health department. What are the rules for reopening? Let's ask the government about COVID policy. The Guardian with this next story. Her son missed remote school, so police showed up with a $439 fine. Punitive truancy policies mean U.S. families may face fines or prosecution, a health crisis, recession, and bad internet can make remote learning impossible. This is, I mean, a different level of just exposure of the bullshit and the coercion behind the government schools, education system, the government school system, the indoctrination, conditioning system. You will accept our free services or else. Yeah. Laid bare. The Jerusalem Post, jpost.com, coronavirus, and this is into our enforcement now, of course. Knesset okays electronic bracelet for returnees from abroad. Yeah. All Israelis. Now, the funny thing is, it sounds in the headline, it's okay. We said it's okay. No. It's all Israelis returning from abroad can be required to wear an electronic bracelet to ensure they isolate at home or be quarantined in a hotel, according to a bill approved by the Knesset on Wednesday. The legislation gave the government authorization to force those who enter the country from abroad or from specific countries to choose between the two options, except for children under 14 and other special humanitarian cases. Now, people all over the world are fighting back, and we love bringing you stories of our fellow Americans fighting back against the policies that affect us. But in Europe, we see increased pushback against the second wave. And just one fun story that came to us through the Producers Club to share about that from BBC News: COVID-19. Dutch police break up anti-lockdown protest. Police in the Netherlands have used water cannons to clear anti-government demonstrators from a park in The Hague. Yeah, water cannons. In Europe, they're using the same method of putting down protests that racist cops used to put down black protests in the 50s and 60s here in the United States. Fucking insane. Okay, maybe it's not as brutal. No dogs chewing at them. I assume the brutality. Oh, no, was I wrong? The brutality might not be as physically bad. No, they're beating people with sticks. Shooting them with water cannons, beating them with sticks in order to suppress this protest in the Netherlands. Oh, and then they've got horse-mounted cops. Horse-mounted cops. I've been in a protest where cops were being used on horses for crowd control. And one of my friends, Nick Morgan, with the Rock Veterans Against the War, got stepped on his head by a police horse. These are not tools used appropriately by government. Surprise, surprise, right? Kevin Lewell's weighs in there. What was the comment? Do we miss it? Sort of like wearing Star of David or swastika. Will we ever learn from history? Compliance. Yeah, well, in a way, they've made not wearing the mask the equivalent of the Star of David. Let me see your smile. This is the smile now. That's your mark. That's your scarlet letter. That's your Star of David. Why are people protesting? Why are people questioning this policy? Maybe, just maybe, it's because the people pushing it on us obviously don't believe it themselves. Exclusive. This is from the Tennessee Star. Maskless climate envoy Kerry endangers passengers on Boston to D.C. flight. John Forbes Kerry, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, while sitting in first class, took off his mask today as he settled into his book moments before his American Airlines flight from Boston to Washington took off. The so-called climate envoy was not eating nor drinking, even though first class passengers are often served before takeoff. In its February 1st press release, American Airlines aligns existing mask requirements with U.S. government mandate. The airline's chief operating officer, David Seymour, said American Airlines would fully comply with President Joseph R. Biden's mask regulations. Yeah. No. At some point, the tolerance for hypocrisy evaporates, and all we're left with is politicians with their pants around their ankles trying to jerk off in our faces, and us going, yeah, we see this for what it is now. Fuck you. We don't want anything to do with this, and we're not going to wear masks either. And that's our misleading medical advice for today. Ladies and gentlemen, our guests today filling in for the pirate captain of the Hexicans, we have Ken Net X and Crypto Coffee joining us backstage. Please let's welcome them to the show. And before we give them the chance to pitch this latest endeavor in the world of altcoins and crypto and introduce themselves, I just want to say why we're doing this interview and that I want to encourage more interviews like this. I'm not endorsing Hex. I'm not endorsing any particular investment other than Bitcoin Core, the classic, and encouraging people to invest in crypto in general, encouraging people to explore alternatives. I am an agnostic between the maximalists and the altcoiners debate here, but I support all honest efforts to pursue new means of using blockchain technology and crypto. And after having been interviewed by the pirate captain of the Hexicans, I hope you guys start calling him that now.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this project as a possibility, as a new venture in the realm of crypto. So, gentlemen, whoever wants to go first, please introduce yourself and your relationship to this project.
Go ahead.
Sure. Thanks for having us. We are both with the Hex community. It's not an official team, as Hex is a decentralized entity. There's no company, there's no middleman. The whole point of crypto was to get rid of middlemen. So Kinetics and I are two community members, just as much as anybody else can be a community member. And we're really part of this grassroots movement where anybody can join. And we're really trying to bring crypto back to the initial principles it was based on, from the cypherpunk movement, from decentralizing the world, holding your own keys, self-sovereignty, financial freedom. We're proponents of that, and we're trying to bring that to the world with a new cryptocurrency called Hex, which is truly revolutionary. I'm excited to talk about it. Thanks for having us.
All right, Kinetics.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks, Adam, for having us. Yeah, thanks for coming on our show. It was a pleasure and a blast. We really enjoyed being able to spitball some things with you that are very like-minded communities happen to share, and then also be able to give you an intro, so to speak, into this new product that has been released, completed, triple audited, and probably and arguably the most secure product out there on the market. So thanks for having us today.
Hey, well, I'm excited. We don't do enough of this or we haven't recently on Adam versus the Man. Been watching, crypto enthusiasm go to the moon and feeling a little left in the dust here and catching up on things. But for the benefit of our audience, we got 30 minutes. Take a few minutes to explain why you each personally are motivated and what got you involved with Hex in particular.
Sure. I guess I'll start. Crypto, like I said earlier, was invented to get rid of middlemen. And Bitcoin started the dream. It started the decentralized, currency movement. It was borderless, peer-to-peer, for the people. And I love that. And I also love the fact that it goes up so much in price. I mean, it's the fastest appreciating asset of all time. Let's not beat around the bush. I got in it for the money, just as much, if not more, than for the tech. I mean, tech is like a cool little side effect, but that's why we're all in crypto too. Let's be honest with ourselves here. So as a side effect of breaking down the existing financial powers that be and power structures that are in place, you also get to get rich. It's great. It's a win-win. But over time, crypto started to go in a way that we didn't quite agree with. I mean, tragically, after 10 or 11 years, 42% of all Bitcoin is still centralized in the wallets of less than 2,000 addresses. So it's probably less than 200 people. Not that that really matters, but what you're starting to see is new banks and new institutions, your Coinbases, your Binances of the world, starting to dig their roots into the ground and starting to centralize cryptocurrency again. So the people were given the power only to give it right back to the central institutions. Again, like not holding their own keys, giving them up for pitifully low interest rates to, centralized entities and exchanges like Binance, Kraken, what have you, and then getting hacked and getting taken advantage of with poor customer service, terrible hours, and all the inefficiencies that we were trying to get rid of from the traditional system. We're starting to see it again. So Hex is a fresh start at a truly decentralized network built on the Ethereum blockchain. And I mean, it's a store of value, just like Bitcoin, but it is so bold as to say that it's basically trying to be a better Bitcoin. And that pisses a lot of people off. They like their Bitcoin, I understand. I mean, Bitcoin can exist too. Bitcoin is kind of the generation 1, and we look at Hex as almost the next generation, greatest new innovation that lives on top of the Ethereum blockchain, right? So with Ethereum, the big innovation there is you're given programmable money. So I hate to break it to any super hardcore Bitcoin fans, but you can't build on top of Bitcoin. You can't build anything on top of it. You can build around it. You can build centralized companies that take your private keys from you for a small little interest rate, but you can't build on it. And so with Ethereum came programmable money. And if you're given programmable money, the first thing you should program logically is interest. And so
I know we're jumping way deep real quick, but let me interrupt for a challenge from the Bitcoin maximalists. Why do you need to build into it? Can't we build everything around in the functionality with Bitcoin?
It's a good point. And yeah, you can. There are services out there that I like. I'm not meaning to bash every service. There are nice, cool things like Lightning Network going on and some other decentralized kind of initiatives around Bitcoin. But we're not seeing it at the speed and the efficiency that we'd like to. So we built Hex. Well, not we. Richard Hart created Hex as a kind of a way. It was distributed for free actually to all Bitcoin holders during the launch phase. So you could free claim it if you held Bitcoin, and that was to try to bootstrap adoption. And Hex is the same way. You can build around it, but technically, because it's a finished product, the code is immutable. You actually can't change the base layer either. But with Hex, we're trying to build a lot more things in the ecosystem that are truly decentralized and not reliant on a central party. And that's only part of it. It's also designed to increase in price faster than anything in the history of mankind. Which
I know this might not be the right analogy, but maybe if not, tell me how it's not right. A lot of people who saw Bitcoin and saw the limitations of Bitcoin just one limit with Bitcoin. I hope you'll address later is the what is it? Unit bias. People don't want to think of spending. Eventually, and the Bitcoin maximalist retort to that would be, well, you'll be spending satoshis, not Bitcoins, right? We'll just create a new term for what is, a 10,000th of a Bitcoin, and that'll be the practical monetary unit and still works. But there's that challenge as well. Maybe come back to that. But the analogy I'm thinking of is silver versus gold. A lot of people saw Litecoin originally as the silver to Bitcoin's gold, and then Litecoin kind of was like, no, there's so much more in that realm, but that gold has that greater functionality as a store of value by changing a fundamental code, and now you have another immutable blockchain that functions like Bitcoin. That way, you've created what is sort of like a different metal that maybe is more easily, conveniently divisible, like silver, or more practical as money. Does the analogy? How well does that analogy fit to your vision of Hex?
It kind of holds up, but it is great to relate to things that people are already familiar with in the real world. So the silver to gold analogy is great, and Litecoin, it's still around. It's not going anywhere. It's got a community behind it. But to silver and gold, that analogy, we already have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is digital gold, and that's fine. But you don't really need another digital gold at this point, right? So the analogy I make for Hex is that if the goal of crypto is to decentralize everything that a traditional bank can do, why not pick the second most popular product at a bank after a checking account, which is a certificate of deposit, time deposit CD. It's called different things in different jurisdictions. Hex is the world's first blockchain CD. And that's over $7 trillion market. It's actually worth more than gold, credit card companies, and payment networks combined. So, product market fit.
Okay, so for people who don't know what a certificate of deposit is, stop and explain that. Because I can't say that I know the basic concept, but I can't say I understand it enough to make the comparison here even.
Sure. So a CD is basically a tool that the wealthy today use to store their money. It basically is just time locking money to gain interest on it. So you can buy at a bank today, you can buy a 1-year CD, a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, whatever the bank is offering. You're subject to their rules basically, and they'll give you 1.5 to maybe 2.5% APY if you're lucky, which is really pure shit. I mean, it's not even enough to beat inflation. So it's kind of offensive that those rates
So
are even.
it's a certificate of deposit is a fancy way of loaning your money to the bank, letting them hold it under certain conditions. They invest it, they give you a set cut.
Exactly. But with Hex, you're the bank. You hold your own money, and it's trustless interest. It's programmed into the smart contract, and you're not loaning your money to any central party where they can do a myriad of ways to fuck it up. And you are the bank. It's a beautiful thing.
So your concept is that the count of the hex in your wallet increases inherent to the code?
Yeah, so with Hex, you can keep it liquid. You can send it, receive it just like any other crypto, but you can also stake it. And staking is literally just a word for time locking. I mean, it's optional, but that's pretty much what we're all doing in Hex. We're staking it because let's say you believe in it for the long term, you might want to make some stakes 1 year, 2 years, 5 years out. And with Hex, you get so much more flexibility because you go down to the daily level. So I can make a stake expiring on Christmas, on my birthday, whatever I want. And as I'm staked, I'm gaining interest the whole time.
Okay, well, I feel like we're jumping ahead a little bit into so many specifics. Let's go back to Ken for a second. Ken, let me try with all this background and good context in the history and everything else, and understanding how we got to this point of market demand where you're offering a new monetary product.
Mm-hmm.
What is Hex?
Well, it's a store of value just like Bitcoin, but it pays you interest to hold. So I don't like the gold to silver analogy.
Hold on, hold on, Ken. I'm going to interrupt. Let me challenge you to break it down to someone who's just jumping into the conversation right now.
No worries.
What is Hex? You have to start with it's a kind of money that what? You can't just say it's Bitcoin. It's skip all that shit. Because we still have to sell crypto. Like even today, for us to understand that crypto's really fucking important to human progress, to peace, to prosperity, to manifesting our potential to love each other as opposed to live under the system of control and exploitation. We have to sell it to them. If someone on the street says, "What is Hex?" What do you say?
Well, before we get there, I think it's better for us to attack what the blockchain is. It's a slow, expensive database. Is really what blockchain is.
I'm going to stop you, man.
Yes.
I'm going to challenge you.
No. Here's why.
Man on the street doesn't know what blockchain is. Okay. You start with someone who has no concept of this.
Here's the deal. PayPal will cut you off, right? If they decide they don't want to pay you, PayPal will cut you off. Well, what the blockchain is a way to transact value with censorship resistant, so no one can shut you off. So no one can stop you from transacting. And that's why it is really the sovereignty of money will be held on the blockchain in the future. And it will be the way to exchange value between individuals that can't be muted or censored by a government of any or a specific entity, period. So when you go back to Hex is built on an immutable blockchain, meaning that you and I can transact trustlessly without having to deal with central authority that allows our transactions to go through. So you and I can transact value for goods and services between each other using this digital money. Essentially, it's digital money, ones and zeros, just like you have in your bank account right now. But I don't need an intermediary like a bank to handle it for us.
Okay, and why is this the best crypto? Why is this the one that you have invested your effort and energy into?
The reason I come from the legacy markets, I'm in insurance, and so I come from the legacy financial industries. And so what really appealed to me was, I love the idea of becoming wealthy through cryptocurrencies and through Bitcoin, but Bitcoin doesn't pay you anything to hold it. And so when Richard came out and started explaining Hex, that you're literally locking up economic value and you're getting more economic value paid in like kind in more Hex when you stake that Hex for a set period of time, then you're also you're also getting the benefits of not having to lose value versus other people gaining more of that cryptocurrency versus you. So I guess what is the what is the best thing that a cryptocurrency can do for you? It can pay you more of itself. And if you can lock it up and you can make it so that there's no buy or there's no sell pressure and only buy pressure because people have locked it up. The average stake right now is over 5 years with Hex right now. So there's a lot of economic energy that is locked up that can't be put on the sell side of the order book of an exchange like you can with Bitcoin. So when you've got people who want to get into the product and others who are staked for long periods of time and can't sell, what happens? Price goes up, has no choice but to go up, because due to the laws of supply and demand, the supply is locked up and the demand is ever increasing.
And actually, to get philosophical on it for a second, if the only reason people buy cryptocurrency in general is because they think price is going to go up, then why not design a cryptocurrency with built-in economics and dynamics that try to help ensure that the price goes up, like the locking and the staking. There's also penalties where if you unstake early, you have to pay a penalty, just like the real world. So we basically just took shit that works in the real world, $7 trillion market, put it on the blockchain, digital CD, and now you can make interest in your sleep and passive income. So it's just so much more attractive because it creates this self-fulfilling feedback loop, right? So you buy it, price goes up, it brings in more people see the price goes up, they buy it, they lock it, other people see the price goes up, and it's this cascading effect.
So what are the rules for how many Hex tokens can be in circulation?
Good question.
So there's a set inflation rate of 3.69% inflation on an annual basis, but it's a delayed release of inflation to the market because it's only paid to the staker class. Those who are staked and have that economic energy locked up for a period of time are the ones getting paid the additional inflation. So why I say it's a delayed inflation is a lot of that economic energy you're not going to see even hit the market for another 5, 6, 7, as far out as 15 years, because we've got Hexicans that are staked as far as 15 years out, which is the maximum the contract will allow.
Wow. Okay. How much? And I know this might be a weird estimate question to answer, but how much equivalent of US dollars has been spent buying into as an investment foundational into the Hex blockchain?
Yeah, we can look that up right now, actually.
How much have you essentially raised for this venture so far? And I say that because it's one way of measuring what is the investment and interest in actual market interest in a new crypto. But it's also something that's hard to measure because a lot of it is traded in and out of others. So market cap as well. I understand that those aren't necessarily precise numbers, and that it's fun when I say, how much have people invested? It's not like a GoFundMe. It's not like it's not like a company where you're buying stock, but it has features like that because you're buying an actual currency. So however you guys feel like you can answer the scope kind of questions like that.
Yeah. So what are the stats, right? What are the critical numbers here? Well, it's about $6 billion market cap on Nomics.com.
$7 billion now. You guys, your viewers are very familiar with Gus Demos, and he likes to talk about the top 20 market cap when he was last on our show. And just if you guys are using the right market cap aggregator, Nomics.com is the one to use. Gatekeeping is very much a true thing in the crypto space, and CoinMarketCap is owned by an entity that is not Hex friendly, so they do not post us where we actually should be. So just want to set the frame that Nomics.com is the most accurate and most agnostic chain aggregator of all of them out there. So
I would say our audience really runs the whole spectrum from people of zero knowledge in crypto to people who know more than me, and I was I don't know, I'd say I'm sort of not up on things currently, but I did day trade for a decent period successfully in 2008 when Bitcoin itself was just, remember when Bitcoin was $800 the unit? Yeah, those weren't those the days. Sort of
it's been a minute.
This is an evolution of the crypto sphere in general, where it's not Wild West, hope to win the lottery kind of, your shit's going to go up 300 times in a year, but I want to explain the concept of market cap, because it is kind of the one you lead with, but in a sense, it's artificially inflated as a valuation of all the coins in the system. So just to explain market cap to our audience, to those who are starting from the basics, if I issue 1,000 Adam versus the Man tokens and you buy one for $10, then I could say, well, it's worth, my market cap is $10,000. They're all worth $10. The whole market cap of my Adam versus the Man tokens is $10,000. I could sell the next one for 100,000 or for $100, and if they're all trading for $100, now my 1,000 tokens could be market cap of 100,000. So it's the value of all of the currency in this system. It's the biggest number by which you would measure a crypto.
Yes.
Yes. So market cap is a great way. That's a great standard to start off with, but it's actually a vanity metric because of that very reason. I
like that vanity metric.
Yeah. It's it can be, tweaked a little bit, manipulated, you could say.
Yeah.
And many are. And really, yeah, it's the circulating supply times the latest price anyone was willing to pay for it. But some other more important metrics that you brought up that you wanted to know, Adam, is, what's the total value locked? How many people are actually using this shit? Well, we've got 27,000 active stakes right now, split between, most people have more than one stake. So there might be about 8 to 10,000 actual stakers and more people that are holding liquid. And the total value locked it fluctuates wildly from day to day with the price of Hex, but the total value locked is, I think, 700 million right now, approaching $1 billion. So it's no joke. It's been around for only a year, and we've already reached this critical mass and virality of people. So it's really exciting to be a part of something that's literally going viral right now, and it's like buying Bitcoin at $1. It's insane.
So this is the smallest number by which you can measure this. How much would you estimate people have put in a dollar value into this blockchain so far?
Well, if you look at just the launch phase alone in the adoption amplifier for when people were first purchasing Hex when it was hitting the market, the valuation before the rise of Ethereum, because it was bought in Ethereum, was close to $3.5 billion worth of Ethereum. And then we've since seen an Ethereum run up of 10, 15x since then. So it's significantly higher than that now. But our market cap is sitting at 7.13 billion. We're at 1.25 cents per hex right now, not that 0.0008 that the gentleman flashed on the screen earlier. So yeah, we're obviously $1 billion cryptocurrency.
Okay, no,
multiple billions.
I really appreciate you guys being direct about that, because a lot of people, promoting altcoins will flash vanity numbers and really try to bullshit around this.
Yep.
And we can still look at X and boil it down to its core and say, this is a very serious venture that a lot of people have not just invested the time and the money and the coding and the organization and all of that, but that this is not a fly by night. There's already a significant chunk of money into this. Yeah. So, can you speak to the origins and the organization and everything like that around this?
Go ahead, Coffee.
The origins of Hex. Yeah, so Hex was created by Richard Hart. It launched on December 2nd, 2019. And it kind of kicked off the entire DeFi craze. I mean, it's what made Uniswap popular. The whole goal behind it was just to create a better Bitcoin on Ethereum that's cheaper, faster, better for the environment because it bootstraps off the security and network of Ethereum. There's all these benefits to it that basically it was just trying to fix what was wrong with Bitcoin as a store of value and give a new opportunity for people to become whales again. So basically the whole launch phase of Hex lasted a year. Those that had the ears to listen were able to buy in and become a part of the Ground One network. And it's still early. It's only 15 months old, so it is truly revolutionary. But basically, yeah, it was just a way to make a better store of value on Ethereum.
All right, so we're going to bring co-host Steven up here to with what I think a question from the audience or comment. So I'll give you guys the last word to wrap things up and let everybody know how they can get involved.
Yeah, so I asked to come on, and UNT Roll said no. But fuck you. I love you. You're a great dude. So question for you guys. I don't do crypto stuff. I've looked at it for a few years. I'm thinking about doing it. I foresee the economy collapsing because the powers that be are fucking idiots or they're fucking geniuses. Either way, right now, and I've been pretty honest with the people about this. I'm investing in guns. I'm investing in things that hold value. I'm investing in things I can touch. Why should I get hex coin? Why should I go crypto instead of hard objects?
Are you gonna keister that gun when you want to go cross borders? Are you gonna keister that gun when you need to hide your store of value somewhere? Because it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to keister a Ledger hardware wallet and transact in billions of dollars instead of hundreds of dollars.
And if you don't want to put a little thumb drive in your bum hole, all you have to do is remember
the seed phrase. That's right.
Or password.
That's
or
right.
whatever. But yeah, no, Stephen, I think there's one point that's obviously already made there, that there are things you can do with crypto that you can't do with guns as a store of value, as a functional monetary unit. But I would invite them to answer the question from the aspect of an investment.
Right. So why get into crypto? Well, why get into Bitcoin in general, right? It's censorship resistant, borderless.
No, specific. I'm sorry to interrupt, but specifically as a competitor to hard physical assets like gold, silver, or guns.
Right. Well, there's the whole suppository argument. You can memorize 12 words in your head much easier than you can lug around those guns. Which, I mean, guns I'm not saying are a bad investment. I actually think they're good too. But it's always
big
good
fans.
Yeah, and the potential for price appreciation in cryptocurrency is why I'm in it, as opposed to hard physical assets. It takes no effort for somebody to click the buy button, or it takes very small effort, right? It takes a high amount of effort to buy and store these physical things like gold. Then you got to worry about storage, and you got to be paranoid about somebody coming to steal them. With crypto, it can be all in your head. It's purely digital. It's ones and zeros. It's just light, transferring over the internet. It's pretty insane. And people are buying into this at a faster rate than they ever have before in the history of mankind. So I see nothing but opportunity and potential in crypto, whereas the whole guns, gold, a little bit more limited. If you bought gold 10 years ago, you'd be down 10% right now. You'd be down.
But Mr. Coffee, I money in my head. I don't trust my own head. Government schools have beaten me down to tell me that I need authority. I need banks. I need people to hold my money. I can't do something as important as hold on to my own money for myself. I can't even put it under the mattress or hold metals because that could be illegal. I have to trust the banks. I can't possibly take charge of my own financial destiny. All right, so with that obviously out of the way, last word, gentlemen. I'll give you both a chance, whatever you think you need to wrap this up and to let people know how to get involved with Hex specifically.
Hex could be the opportunity of a lifetime. Go to hex.com to buy Hex today. Go to gostaker.com to download the most revolutionary crypto app on iOS and Android. If you don't know how to get started, gostaker.com is where you're going to want to start. To me, it's like buying Bitcoin at $1, and it means financial freedom and self-sovereignty for the rest of your life and for those and your loved ones around you.
Well, I have legacy stakes for my kids. I set them up for when they graduate, and I also did a segment for the max amount of staking allowed, which is 5 days on the contract. So I believe in it wholeheartedly in a way that I don't think it's going anywhere. It's contract, it's immutable code, triple audited. So I know it's got 2 mathematics audits, 1 economics audits to verify the numbers do what and the code does what it says it's supposed to do. So I trust the guy that created this because he has been the giving tree of crypto. If you go back to Richard Hart's videos, he has given self-help information for free and never monetized his YouTube channel. He's only ever tried to keep people out of scams, and part of the reason he created Hex was to steal and rob the economic energy from scams, because there's a number of people out there that are going to invest in things that they shouldn't anyway. So he figured he might as well create a competing product that actually has viability and legs to it. So I recommend you guys give it a shot. Those who have gotten into it were 95% of the people who have purchased are in profit right now, and I only see, because of the no selling pressure and the only buying pressure in proportion to each other, causing the USD valuation of Hex to go up. And it's nice to get paid right now. Anything staked over 5.29 years is making about 38.33% interest right now. And there's over $762 million in valuation staked right now.
And as your pirate captain would say, you get to call yourselves Hexicans. And I'm
Hexicans.
all about that cultural appropriation. So, no, just melting potism here, right? Love for everybody. Crypto frees the world is going to make humanity so much happier, more peaceful, and prosperous. And for your work in pushing that general cause, and for joining us today and being generous with your time. Thank you both very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, for having us.
All right, hex.com, check it out. All right, I know this sucks. We got 35 minutes left in the show, and we have a lot to say about trans people, which kind of bothers me, because even the most pro-trans people would say this should not be like the dominant issue in the news all the time. And yet somehow we have more important things to say. I feel like I must do my journalistic due diligence and at least get this international news block out of the way. So we'll do this as quickly as we can. But there is some bad news that we do have to note. First, from Reuters.com, Mozambique armed men beheading children. Save the Children says children as young as 11 are being beheaded in Mozambique. UK-based aid group Save the Children said on Tuesday, in violence that has killed thousands and displaced many more in a northern region torn by an Islamist insurgency. Save the Children said it had spoken to displaced families who described horrifying scenes of murder, including mothers whose young sons were killed. In one case, the woman hid helpless with her 3 other children as her 12-year-old was murdered nearby. We tried to escape to the woods, but they took my eldest son and beheaded him. The 28-year-old who saved the children, called Elsa, is quoted as saying, "We couldn't do anything because we would be killed too." So yeah, to the context here, Mozambique's northernmost province of Cabo Delgado has since 2017 been home to a festering insurgency linked to Islamic State that has escalated dramatically in the past year. Beheadings have been a hallmark of their attacks. Throughout 2020, the insurgents began regularly engaging the military to capture and hold key towns. Brutality also continued with mass killings, including the murder of around 52 people at once in the village of, I think it's pronounced Zatazi, in April. Although altogether, almost 2,700 people on all sides have died in the violence. Excuse me, according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, ACLED, the consultancy that tracks political violence. Almost 670,000 people have been displaced, Save the Children said. So, yeah, a lot more to see and follow. We'll be definitely coming back to this story. From The Independent, Biden believes Putin a killer. The price he's going to pay, you'll see shortly. U.S. President's comments follow intelligence reports linking Kremlin to extensive disinformation campaigns and influence operations targeting lawmakers and media during the 2020 election. U.S. President Joe Biden said he believes Russian President Vladimir Putin is a killer when asked by ABC News host George Stephanopoulos. This question follows a federal investigation into Russian-linked cyber attacks in an intelligence report linking the Kremlin to election-related online interference that promoted Donald Trump and right-wing conspiracy theories in an attempt to discredit Mr. Biden. And asked whether he believes Mr. Putin is a killer in a pre-taped interview that aired Wednesday, the president responded, "I do. The price he's going to pay, you'll see shortly." Now, I would just say to Mr. Biden about this, be careful what threads you pull on other government leaders' sweaters before you find yourselves all standing naked together while the world points and laughs. Really, you're gonna call out Russia for propaganda, election meddling, disinformation campaigns, killing people. Oh, yes. As if the U.S. federal government has never killed anyone. Good luck with that, Mr. Biden. Rollcall.com, U.S. intelligence says Russia boosted Trump, put down Biden in 2020 election. Maybe there's some personal revenge issue here for sleepy, creepy Joe. Russia did not attempt to physically alter voting or election results, but did launch propaganda efforts. Hello, Radio Free Europe. Hello, the CIA in South and Central America. You want to really? Really, Mr. Biden? You want to have a contest about which government is better at disinformation? I mean, really, I don't know. You want to have a dick measuring contest for government? Who can be the best liars to people in other countries? Oh, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. Congratulations. President Vladimir Putin authorized and Russian entities carried out influence operations last year aimed at denigrating the candidate Joe Biden, boosting former President Donald Trump's candidacy during the 2020 election, U.S. intelligence agency said in a report it made public Tuesday. Yeah, of course, they had nothing to do with the libertarians. Yeah, just write them out of the story. CNBC.com, Putin pushed Biden misinformation to Trump allies and media in 2020, U.S. says. So another story about this. This is fun developments to follow. Russian leader Vladimir Putin pushed misinformation during the 2020 election cycle about Joe Biden through U.S. media and people close to then President Donald Trump to try to boost Trump's election chances, re-election chances, U.S. intelligence report said. In particular, a declassified report released Tuesday said that Putin had purview over the activities of Andrei Derkach, a Ukrainian legislator who played a prominent role in Russia's election influence activities. Derkach, who has ties to Russian intelligence, is known to have met with Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer, who for months promoted discredited allegations against Biden, now president, and his son, Hunter Biden. Now, distraction. What's fun about these stories is that you think it's tempting. Oh, we've been lied to. Now we're going to know the truth. Like, that's juicy. People want that, right? The thing is, the focus is on that process. Notice there was nothing in any of these stories. They lied about this, but this was the truth. They're not really getting at that, at least not yet. And they're not going to, not from the mainstream media, but eventually perhaps. And I think we're going to come back to these stories as they develop, periodically, or we'll see what comes out of this. But, I mean, we know that for us as libertarians, the bigger truth is that Trump might have won or should have won, or who knows? Like, do I really, or that Biden should have won by a landslide? Like, these things don't matter to us because the fundamental differences between the Democrats and the Republicans are not significant enough for us to care about their petty politic drama. But if there's a bigger truth that may come out of this, we will come back to it. And I think the bigger truths coming out at this point are just that, government's fucking lying. Sorry, libertarians. No juiciness in this for us. I told you so. Market Watch. So now we get to our grab bag. And where's my trans stories? Oh, did I hide them back here? What? No. But yeah, let's should we cover everything else in our old grab bag here first, or just go straight into the trans issues? I guess a little stimulus first. Yeah. MarketWatch.com. Starbucks expected to get jolt from stimulus checks and restaurant reopenings. Oh, a jolt. Did you think you would sneak that little double entendre by us? Pandemic public health restrictions are the biggest hurdle to getting young customers back through the door, according to BTIG data. Starbucks Corp. S-Bucks was upgraded to buy from neutral at BTIG based on the upcoming benefits from restaurant reopenings and federal stimulus cash that will hit consumer bank accounts. Yeah, people looking to go back and get that caffeine. People buying drugs. Go buy your drugs. Go buy your stimulants and the nicer forms. Speaking of stimulus, Indianapolis man killed 4 after fight over stimulus check, police say. New York Times, nytimes.com. 7-year-old was among those killed. A man found hiding in a friend's attic by a SWAT team is expected to face murder and robbery charges. Yep. In Indianapolis, a man was accused of fatally shooting 4 people over the weekend after arguing with his girlfriend because he wanted a portion of her federal coronavirus stimulus check. It's going to be, I mean, we're in the middle of this phenomena right now, and of everything else going on, it's easy to sort of get lost in the shuffle. But we're in the middle of, I mean, it's not really an experiment, but a major economic event of, I guess we would call this the third COVID stimulus, because $600, the significance of that money compared to $1,400, how much does the average American then have to play with of that $1,400 to express their economic preferences in the moment? It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. What happens when suddenly every American gets an airdrop of $1,400? And the thing is, I wish I could say it was every American. It's not. A lot of people are getting left out of this. Kids don't get it. There's age discrimination. If you're not either a benefit recipient or a taxpayer, you might not get it. All right, and then from the Motley Fool, MSN.com, Robin Hooders, don't blow your stimulus check on sundial growers. Buy this red hot cannabis ETF instead. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting investment opportunities today, but perhaps none more exciting than cannabis, specifically U.S.-based cannabis companies. Though marijuana is still federally legal, many U.S. companies operating in states where marijuana use is legal are seeing booming financial results. Furthermore, the prospect of potential regulatory rollbacks means U.S. pot companies could also see improvements in their cost structures as well sometime during this administration. So, yeah, we're at that point where you can invest in cannabis in sort of conventional means and still make that I would still say, even though you're giving the man your money through, a system of ETFs and stocks and whatever other financial devices to invest in cannabis, it's still a conscientious vote. And I think, vote with your dollar to say, I'd like to buy a piece of a cannabis company because I think it's going to go up in value. I think that's a good conscientious investment as well as a generally sound one. But we can get even more intense with this. Newsweek, magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, and mescaline decriminalized in Washington, D.C. That's right. This is from 22 hours ago. Legislation has come into force this week that has made it easier for people in Washington, D.C. to possess and use natural psychedelics, such as magic mushrooms. Excuse me. This is 2 days ago now. 22 hours when I pulled it up yesterday morning, and we didn't get to it because of the fun Captain Kickass interview. But here it is. The Entheogenic Plant and Fungus Policy Act of 2020, also known as Initiative 81, came into effect on Monday. It allows those in the district to use plant and fungi medicines without fear of being investigated, arrested, or jailed. Well, no. They still live in America. They still live in a police state. There's plenty of reason to fear being investigated, arrested, and jailed. Just not as openly for those things. You will be investigated for being suspicious. You will be arrested if they make a mistake. You will be jailed by a system that incentivizes locking people up. But no, this is again, I don't mean to go native on this. This is great news. And we said from the election night results, the winner of 2020's election was drugs. Everybody else was a loser. Drugs won. I guess people on drugs winning the war on drugs. Whatever. Now, and we knew there was a period of let's take a victory lap and then sit down and enjoy the victory. Even here in Arizona, cannabis being legal now, it took a couple months for us to get to the point where recreational dispensaries were a thing. There's still a lot of taxes on that. We still haven't realized the full gray market potential around legalization. This was a big thing in California when medical passed, and I was there. You could walk around with a backpack full of weed and sell it at people's houses relatively, with relatively low liability. I don't know if it's gotten to that point. Maybe in Phoenix, some of the bigger cities, not all of Arizona. We don't enjoy that yet here in the sticks, but we are seeing this play out in some ways now, although it will be slower with those who use plant and fungi medicines. So yeah, there it is. Magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, and mescaline decriminalized officially now in D.C. We're in a new world. Marijuana moment. I think this is wrapping up the drugs part of our block here. Veterans groups want marijuana and psychedelics access through VA. They tell Congress. Whether Congress was listening, another subject, and whether this particular hearing will affect policy. Probably not compared to broader public opinion, but the beautiful sign of the times. Look at this. Veterans groups want marijuana and psychedelics access through VA. They tell Congress. They could be putting Homefront Battle Buddies out of business pretty soon or making it irrelevant. It'll be a while before our mission is accomplished. Associated Press, Utah campaign against porn marches on with phone filter plan. Yeah, this is crazy. Utah, fucking Utah. Like, ugh. Mitt Romney, Mormons, and I love them all, but oh my God, there's some weird shit that comes out of Utah. They're trying to make a phone filter for porn. What is porn? I don't know, but I know it when I see it. You're going to try to create a database that differentiates by your legislative standards what is porn and what is not porn. And then in order for a cell phone company to do business in your state, they're going to have that filter. No, just not viable. All right, let's skip ahead then. I think that's enough setup for our transgender conversation today. We start with popbuzz.com. TikTok bans the super straight movement and its creator. Here's why the transphobic super straight movement has been banned from TikTok. Now, in my look at this debate so far, there's a lot of bullshit collectivization, which leads to erroneous conclusions, right? Faulty logic, you get bad results. And in this case, they're saying, well, the movement has been banned from TikTok. You can't ban a movement from TikTok. I mean, a movement is an individual's subjective classification of a group of people saying that they are moving together. For example, we can look at the freedom movement as a whole. The way I define it more inclusively is everybody who's pulling in the direction of greater freedom. To me, that's more important than, say, some would call the libertarian movement. And some would define that as people similar to me pulling in the direction of freedom. Some would say that as people who identify as libertarian. People would say even narrower. Maybe it's people who actually meet this philosophical criteria of being libertarian. Or they might say, no, it's only people who have fixed the big L libertarian label to their name. They are party libertarians, and that's the movement. So to say, well, what's the super straight movement? Am I a part of the super straight movement? Because right now I identify as super straight. What is super straight? Basic concept is that it's a new sexual orientation, but we'll get to that. TikTok has banned the super straight hashtag for spreading hate speech and hateful ideologies. The transphobic term originated on the platform after TikToker Kyle Royce made a now deleted video declaring that super straight was the new sexual orientation. He has since been permanently banned from the platform too. Oh, what's crazy about, I mean, right away, the transphobic term. Now, the term transphobic, it deserves a little bit of examination here too, because it's not that you're afraid of trans people necessarily. At least, I mean, I've been accused of being transphobic while being a trans person myself because I'm odd gendered. By your definition, you want to say that that's a thing. Guess what? I guess I'm trans. But this is sort of an acceptance of the idea that a trans person is the gender that they identify as. And to me, this is very important. But the term itself is not trans. Oh, so we have a definition: having or showing dislike or prejudice against transsexual or transgender people. So dislike or prejudice against. I mean that's pretty broad, right? So if you don't like something, like, does that makes you transphobic, or does that make you? It's a word that has become, if that's the definition, they're in relatively new term, has come to be defined in a way that the etymology of the word is not really appropriate for, because phobic And the root of the word phobic doesn't necessarily mean afraid of, but that's the general, arachnophobia, agoraphobia, whatever, is a fear of the thing that precedes it in the word. But phobic or philic also have like physical properties. They mean like that they repel or they attract. So to use it to say, well, anything that expresses dislike, okay, but then the term is meaningless. Like, and if you want to say that anybody who's not attracted sexually to someone who's a trans person is transphobic because they have a sexual dislike for them, but that's not necessarily the case, and that's not what super straight is even being used to describe. So to say this term is transphobic is totally intellectually ungenuine, and this is why there are a lot of people who identify as the trans community. We're going to come back to this collectivism term here, who do a lot of bullshit in the name of the trans community or of defending trans, and this is an example of a lot of this bullshit because the concept super straight. Well, let me get the quote. What is super straight? Super straight means having a sexual preference for, quote, the opposite sex only if they were biologically born that gender. It deliberately excludes transgender people. Yes. Well, when I'm saying that I'm straight, I'm deliberately excluding other men because I'm not fucking attracted to other men. I'm allowed to say I'm straight, right? That's still a thing. You're allowed to do that. Okay, just checking with the any social justice warriors that might have wandered into the room. So the term any sexuality describes who you're attracted to and excludes people you're not attracted to. So I can say, like, yes, I accept that you're a woman. I accept that what defines you as a woman is more important in your brain than your body. And this is the important human thing. And I do believe in the basic concept, trans rights are human rights. You want to identify a certain way. You want to present yourself a certain way. You want to engage with other people sexually a certain way. Those are basic human rights. You have all those rights. But, we have the right to freedom of speech. We have the right to look at that. We have a right to not have to subsidize any of that. You don't have a right to force anybody else to pay for any of that. Live and let live. So do I need as like I could say as a straight as a straight cisgender male who's technically odd gender or whatever, that I'm only attracted to women of a certain type who, for me, the way I'm, I guess, genetically programmed, makes me want to make babies, right? So there's something like someone being a woman who's not capable of making babies, who I can just identify like, no, you can't make babies. You don't have the right biology. That's something that is inherently unattractive to me. Do I need a term for that? Do I need to call myself super straight and go around going, I'm not just straight, I'm super straight. I really only like fertile looking women. Like, no, I don't. So there is maybe a means for a pushback, but if you're going to play this game rhetorically as the trans community, then you have to sort of respect the rules that you created. And if someone says, hey, to me, expressing my sexuality as a straight, white, cisgender male or whatever it is that Kyle Royce identifies as, I don't really care here. If someone is expressing their sexuality and saying, this is what I'm attracted to, who the fuck are you to push back on that? And what's crazy is that who the fuck are you? You're TikTok. You're supposed to be this, I mean, you're not really pretending to be a free speech platform still, are you? I don't think so. But of course, you've got this TikTok platform, and what you're doing is suppressing sexual expression. Now, a lot of people are going to latch onto that with transphobia, right? A lot of people who are, gay or straight hate men or women and male bash and gay bash. And, like there's all sorts of just, or for people that you're attracted to. I mean, a lot of straight men talk shit about women all the time. I wish I was gay. How much easier would my life be? Or like Jerry Seinfeld said, being gay is great. Date someone your own size right away. You double your wardrobe. So the term came from TikToker Kyle Royce, who said he made a new sexuality in a now deleted video. He said, quote, straight men get called transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans woman. Now I'm super straight. I only date the opposite gender women that are born women. You can't say I'm transphobic now because that is just my sexuality. Yeah. And so this is where, like, if you there is a, in the name of white knighting or defending or promoting trans rights, that people have gone too far and really kind of made it anti-straight and made it a pejorative thing to say, like, you're transphobic if you express dislike for people who are transgender. And I have friends who are trans. I have, political allies. I'm a fan of trans. I'm a fan of Aria DiMezzo, one of the Crypto Six. I consider her, she identifies as a woman. I call her a her. I consider her a friend and a colleague and someone I support because she doesn't pull this shit and she's capable of laughing at the situation and what it means to be transgender. And that's great. And I love her for that. And I respect that. And she wouldn't ever be bothered by me going, not really attracted to you. Sorry, not my thing sexually. Do I need a term for that? I don't know. I don't care. All right. So CJ, however, had a bit of a stronger response to this than I did. So is CJ with us? Did CJ call in just for this part of the show today? All right, ladies and gentlemen, former executive producer, now CEO of Adam vs. the Man, CJ, I want to just give you a chance to play your video because it's very strong and decisive.
Before we
anything
play,
you want to say to set it up?
yeah. Before we go and play the video that I released earlier, I do want to speak for myself because I too, Adam, would have considered myself an ally to the trans community. I too considered myself somebody that would say trans rights are human rights, that they have the right to live and pursue their happiness, find their partners, and do their thing. I never would have thought 2 months ago when I downloaded TikTok at the behest of Cash Damn Jackson that I would be sitting here talking about this with you right now, Adam. I mean, and so to me, when I first found TikTok, I was like, okay, I don't know where I fit in. I don't know what the point of this is. I'm being told it's controlled by the communist Chinese. Why I'm using it, I don't know. I'll just play around with it. Okay, this is kind of cool. You can kind of do this. Okay, you can kind of do that. You can kind of really learn how to, do messaging within 15 to 60 second intervals and say different things. And I mean, really, I've had a lot of fun with it. I found a lot of people on there that were like-minded. And I was making content that was, just regular old content, talking about my personal life, my personal stories, things I'm interested in. And then all of a sudden, Super Straight was born. And I see a video saying, I'm not just straight, I'm super straight. And I was like, okay, well, what is this? And I start going through and I start listening to all the conversations. And I started engaging back in the conversation. And I kept saying, like, I'm already a white, cisgendered, heterosexual male that likes biological.
You are so odd gender. Bullshit. You are so odd gender. I'm calling you out, man. Come out of the closet now. Don't tell me you're not an autistic libertarian too.
All right. So all right. Well, that's how I'm going to identify. And I'm interested in biological women. I have children. I do not look at somebody with a penis and go, I want that. I'm not interested. No, thank you. It's not for me. But then all of a sudden, I started seeing a lot of things that were really disturbing to me. I mean, the trans community is using super straight as its target. Like, this is a straight up, we're going to call everybody who won't put a penis in their mouth transphobic. And that's literally what it's coming down to. And so, I was like, well, I'm already this identity. I'm not going to date a trans person. I'm with somebody who is a straight woman. She can bear children. She's currently pregnant right now. Like, I'm already past the deed. I know who I'm with. So I'm not going back. I'm not in the dating market for somebody, and I'm not interested in even looking. So the point being that now I'm being lumped into this category that I didn't even know existed. Before I would have just said, yeah, I'm straight. I'm straight, Adam. But then that term came to, okay, you're straight. Would you date a trans woman?
And if you don't, you're a hater. And if
you don't know, you're transphobic.
Right. Well, no, but you're a hater and you're a bad person. And
No,
that's
they
what
skipped hater. They skipped
Okay,
bad
no, but
person.
that's what they're trying to say when they apply the label transphobic to you.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, they're what they're doing is they're not only finding anybody that represents themselves as super straight. What they've started is a digital genocide. Like they are, like they said, removing every account that is putting super hate and or super straight, and they're saying that it's for super hate, and they're banning them. And I received multiple community guideline violations for even responding back to people saying, I don't hate you. I think you have every right in the world. I'm not against you. But I kept getting told the same thing. I'm transphobic. I'm this, that, and the other. And it was getting very frustrating to the point where you just see constant. I mean, it was a barrage. Now TikTok is taking down anything that has a hashtag or labeled super straight. As they find it, it's coming down. So you can't really even find a bunch of it anymore unless it's like some big accounts. But you're seeing millions of reactions. And you go into comment sections and it's World War fucking 3 in the comment sections. And what they're doing is they're finding people in real life. They're ruining people in real life. I mean, it is getting so serious.
So, this is why, CJ, before we show your video, I gotta say one thing. This is why I think this might be just a really stupid, unnecessary, divisive topic. And I'm not gonna jump on this. I'm
CJ Abernathy. I'm super straight. It is a real sexual orientation, and anybody that said so is a superphobe. I mean, well, seriously.
I mean, if you think that's a way to, and it's a way to.
No, it's the medicine that this community deserves for their response, because they're taking the minorities. So I'm essentially going to mirror.
No. Okay, see, let me go back. I'm missing the point. See, you're making it about the trans community, and it's really not the trans community. It's the white knighters and the certain vocal people that are.
Oh, there are so.
It's not ever. You can't.
Okay,
fine.
How about this? Okay, fine. All right.
You say so. But here's my point. Here's my point, CJ. You are now talking about an issue of almost zero social significance compared to war, banking, corporatism, COVID.
Oh, I agree. I agree completely. I wouldn't be even discussing this if it wasn't every third video on fucking TikTok.
Get the fuck off of social media, man. Get off the TikTok. Get on to engage conscientiously, not to scroll a feed, right? That's why you have to be a conscientious consumer of information.
I enjoyed doom scrolling my TikTok. It was pretty fun. Now,
all right, so I mean, I've gone through times where I've felt like needling social justice warriors to make a point, and it's fun. But I don't want to be distracted.
So effortless, Adam.
Let's play your video, because this is
I'll tell Jim when it's ready to play, because it needs context. So I just posted that this morning. I got this in the mail 2 days ago.
Wow.
In the email saying your Internet Warlords account has been permanently banned from TikTok. Wow. And we're not restoring your account. Best to you. Right. And so that pissed me off. I created an alt account and I just started going to slaughter town on people. I'm pissed off. I'm going angry style. If you want to see what hate really no. It was perfectly good use of my time. In my world, I will die on this hill, Adam. I'm okay with that. Now, let me just give you an idea real quick, what it looks like real quick over at TikTok, since you're not a TikToker.
No.
All right, let me start with this lovely person. Let me start with
you're not super straight. You're just transphobic. No one's gonna force you to date a trans person. I said you're not super straight. Just say you're straight and transphobic, or don't. You can just stop talking. That's also an option.
Now, hang on, keep going. I got it.
So here are some of the reasons why super straight is transphobic. It assumes that all trans people fit into a certain box. It conflates gender identity, gender presentation, and body parts. It defines your sexual orientation around specifically excluding trans people categorically, no matter what body parts they have and no matter what gender presentation they have. And it was specifically created to harass, exclude, and get back at trans people. And yes, sometimes I do feel special. I feel lucky to be part of the trans and queer communities, but that is just a thin layer of happy icing on a really fucking big cake filled with trauma and violence. We as trans and queer people have earned the right, both on an individual and generational level, to have this one joyful aspect of our lives because of how fucking hard it is just to exist in a world where cis people kill us, make us illegal, make fun of us, harass us, fetishize us, and treat us as if we are scum.
To preface this video by saying that this is the most hypocritical comment that I have ever seen on my page. You started a new sexuality to discriminate against transgender people. Listen, I get it. Not everyone's into us. Not everyone worships the dolls, however you want to put it. But the second you go off and start saying, I like my women biological, you started discriminating against me.
Opinion time. So, if you identify as super straight, unfollow me or just don't follow me in general, please. I am all for people's sexualities, like straight, but super straight, you're not a minority.
Imagine, Adam, if I had said, I'm all for people's sexualities, but trans. I'm all for people's sexuality, but this. And so it's a constant spreading. And again, there's one more I want to play. This guy gets it. And then you can play mine. And I'll explain that too. But this guy actually gets what's going on, and there's a bigger story to it. So,
yeah, I took your advice and I made one, especially seeing now that it's gone completely. And I've started to notice something. Another creator I know was on live talking about a subject that I posted last about on my main account, and that was the super straight shit. And this is just my theory, but I think I figured out what it is and why people should stop talking about it, because I'm seeing nothing but people get banned over talking about this specific topic, because it's painfully clear at this point. In terms of having an opinion or anything like that, you have to be a liberal, and I think this is their way of kicking conservatives off this shit. And unfortunately, we've been letting them know who we are simply by talking about this shit. And you can call me a tin hat or whatever, but if I was trying to get rid of an entirely group of people that had the same,
which is genocide digitally,
other shit, I would want to create something that they thought they could get behind, just so I could know who's all behind it, who's all on this side, and how long will it be until everybody else joins. Just be more wary of trends.
Well, let me respond, because I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I think there's a little. I would definitely disagree with some of his precise characterizations, but the general point that this is liberals pushing against conservatives, where that it's part of that dumb battle, yeah, I wouldn't say you have to worry about identify. They know who the fuck you are. Like, be out, be proud. Don't be in the closet about your politics. Don't let them bully you into shame and fear if you're not liberal or not conservative or whatever.
This is just that Trojan horse, though, and so I do believe the communist Chinese are profiting from this. I think they're on both sides of this. I think it wasn't necessarily created. Well, they say it was created by neo-Nazis, but yet that article just told you it was created by a guy in his car just because he was tired of being transphobic. But they say it was created by literal neo-Nazis because of the letters SS, and you know how people are. Anything. Yeah, and again, so now not only were they telling you that you're transphobic, but they're telling you you're a Nazi. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not transphobic. I can respect anybody because I'm not the one that has to fuck you. Yeah. And so I'm not a Nazi either, so stop fucking calling me that. And it just seems like there was wave after wave, and it was just being used. And so finally it was like, well, fuck it. If you really want to attack me, if you're going to censor me, somebody who just a month ago would be like, yeah, I will go to bat for any trans person, you betcha. No problems asked. But then watching I have to preface this again with there's a small minority of people that are in the trans community that are like, no, let them have it. We have every alphabet letter in there. Why can't they have theirs? There are a very small minority of people that I've seen. Again, the numbers they outnumber at least 100 to even 1,000 to 1 for videos I saw during this time where super straight was running rampant, and the trans community was using it just as much to speak hate speech against the people they hate as the people in super straight that were doing the same thing. My argument to the whole trans community this whole time is the outliers of both sides of this conversation that TikTok is pushing to the front, because here's the truth. They take 60. Let's say Adam versus the Man was exclusively on TikTok. If I buy their TikTok money, they take 30% off the top just for TikTok. They take 30% from the creator. You only get 30% from the TikTok. So TikTok ends up with 66 cents for every dollar. And then the bigger the account they can ban, whatever's sitting in your wallet, you can only cash out after 2 months. Then they can take and they can boost up all that money. And as soon as you get banned for even hinting you're super straight, or they can justify banning you, your account gets shut down, and they get to keep 100% of what's in your bank account. So I do believe there's a more nefarious element to this superficial, I hate you because you don't like trans, and I hate you because you hate trans. Like, I think that's the superficial argument. I think there's bigger things on there. Now, I've been on TikTok for only 2 months. I firmly believe they profit from child pornography.
I want to get to your video. You're pointing out really good stuff.
Before there's one thing I wish I could have corrected before you play this, because I'm playing a warlord. Okay, my account is to be an internet warlord. You go to war with me, and I'm going to go to war back with you. I'm going to use every breath of my body to annihilate you from the face of this earth if you're declaring war against me. And I do believe that, I can see T-rolls, but I'm saying it like this though, is that it's absolutely ridiculous that they can justify a digital genocide of people, and then people will sit back and watch. And,
okay, so let's hold on. We're over time, CJ. I want to play your video, and then I want to keep you on. And here's Steven and Jim's responses. I know they want to weigh in on this, so let's hear it.
All right, Jim, you got that prepped up for us?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy CJ, the Internet Warlord. As you can see, I ran for governor here in South Dakota in 2018 as a libertarian. I believe in the right of all people as long as they don't violate the non-aggression principle. This message is for the trans community, their allies. You violate the non-aggression principle. You're literally in the middle of conducting a digital genocide against people that identify as super straight. I am no longer an ally of the trans community. Trans rights are not human rights. Again, as they have started a genocide here on the internet. The trans community is just domestic terrorism. Your tactics on the internet have now turned me into your number one enemy. You know what I realized as the Internet Warlord? There's nothing you can do to me in the real world. I still exist, and that just fucking kills you. So I will be supporting the Republicans and calling what you have a dysphoria. You want to take the warlord off the internet? You had an ally. Now you have an enemy in the real world. You created this, not me.
So, I mean, my only criticism here, I mean, plenty of things, obviously, I'm differentiating on here, but that I think you're collectivizing the community when it could be a few infiltrators, it could be a few trolls. I mean, would you want people to say, oh, you, the libertarian community, have an enemy now because I saw Vermin Supreme tell this joke that I didn't like? Fuck you.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But again, if you gotta watch it. Like, this is what I have to say about TikTok is TikTok allows you to tell a story. And I have multiple characters because this has given me a multiple personality disorder. I hope it's temporary. But I have multiple characters in this. And so I'm able to have a different form of conversation than, say, a long talk format like this. And that I'm portraying a character. So if you want to go to war with me, I'm going to make sure that I trigger every bit of response out of you that you would have did we lose Adam? Well, either way, I will die on this hill. That's more than fine for me today. I'm okay with what
Adam gonna say next.
All right, that should be the comment contest. Because again, at the end of the day, if you piss me off and all I've done is give you kindness and courtesy and dignity and respect, and then the first thing I fucking get is you're a transphobe, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, and the other. I don't give a fuck past that. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want that's going to make you on the other end of that screen go, fuck, I hate you, CJ. And then I'm going to go to bed at night going, oh, thank God, I don't give a fuck.
Hey, CJ.
Yeah.
Can I send you some weed so you'll calm the fuck down?
Oh, I wish I had some, man. I wish I had some. But again, I want to say I am not I will say this to those in the trans community that look at somebody like me and go, yeah, he can say he's super straight. I don't give a fuck. Listen, I'm not against you. And I am sorry that my speech was that negative at 4:30 in the morning where I felt so pissed off that I've lost a way that allowed me to be a new form of creative that I haven't had before, and it's been taken from me. And by, again, your community of people that you say you identify with. And, you know, my great grandpa went to his grave saying that all communists are bad communists and only good communist is one that's 6 feet in the grave. You know, and if you're going to support a communist platform committing a digital genocide that you benefit from, and you're not going to speak out for it, why should I speak out for you? Why should I be your ally when you're watching me be digitally executed and you're just like, nah, let it happen. I get to still make my TikToks.
You don't know that other people in the trans community
They need to be louder. They need to be louder than that minority, Adam.
Like they need to not be shadow banned. They need to not be censored. That's not in their control. I would bet that most of the trans community goes, yeah, censoring this is stupid. In fact, I would bet most of the trans community, I would bet 98% of the trans community is smart enough and aware enough to say, fuck all forms of censorship.
Okay,
We need freedom of expression.
I would reverse that for TikTok. I think
okay,
have you been on TikTok?
No, stop, CJ. That's the trans people that TikTok wants you to see.
And
you have to remember, you have to keep that in mind. Okay, guys, we're over time. I want to ask just one question first of everybody, and maybe make this a little more complete conversation about the term super straight. I mean, as far as I know, the four of us here are straight dudes. Do we feel like we and I don't know if you guys want to weigh in on this or not, you're welcome to share your own preferences. But if I may presume ever so dangerously cis status, right? If you're and by the way, I just realized I'm technically not super straight, because if you got a really fucking hot biological woman who for the moment identifies as a man in her head and says, no, I'm a man, mentally I'm a man, but I want to stay a woman physically and I'm gay, I'm attracted to men, I could definitely, you know, be open to that. You know, like you have to, that video you showed on CJ made
Adam,
me go,
Adam, that's not the same thing. I'm
maybe,
asking,
okay,
all right, real quick, show of hands.
Here's the point. Do we need the term? Because when I say I'm straight, it's good enough to have a term that just.
So
goes,
you're saying
okay,
you'll put a dick in your mouth, Adam, to appease the trans community?
You're saying
transphobic. Now you're transphobic.
I've dated women who have identified as men for sexual exploration for themselves in prior relationships.
Right, but again, Adam,
I think you're asking the wrong question.
My point is, like, for me as a straight man, do I need to say I'm a straight man who's only attracted to women who whatever is like what do I need a more differentiating term?
Okay, Adam, let me explain this to you. This is the best way to explain it. Would you date a trans woman? Yes or no?
No.
Would you? If you were a single man? No, you wouldn't. Why? Because you're not attracted to it. Right. Yeah. But if you're straight, this is where the evolving word of straight is going to be inclusive to trans people. This has been my argument to the trans community. By accepting super straight as an identity and just letting them be, let them have their thing. What they're saying in the natural inclination is that trans people are what they identify as. And if you are straight and you're a man and you date a trans woman, you can still call yourself straight and nobody's going to say nothing to you. Or you could date a cis and nobody's going to say nothing to you. But if you would exclude a trans person who is a woman and you're a man, then you are either a transphobe or what? Because you're not straight. If you won't date a trans woman, you're something other than straight. Because a straight man would date a trans woman with no ignorance.
Steven's turn.
Okay.
CJ, I will say, CJ, you care about the thing you're being distracted with too much. Steven.
Okay. So we understand that super straight, whether or not it needs to be a word, but we understand that is a man who was born a man. He's got a wee-wee.
It's a woman who would only date men who are born biological men. It applies to both.
Let me finish, buddy. Just let me finish. I'm not mad at you. Please don't be mad at me. I'm not interrupting you. Please don't interrupt me. I love you, CJ. I'm gonna buy you a fucking hat. Is there a term for a man who was born a man who dates women and fucks women regardless of whether or not they're trans? Because maybe there should be a differentiation between.
Now, Stephen, I'm tempted to just say, fuck all of this precise sexual differentiation. We need just generally inclusive, loving, accepting terms. All of these terms of precise differentiation are like the toxic differentiation in the libertarian movement, where, well, I can't be just a libertarian. I'm a geo-libertarian, or left, or right, or this, or that. No, you're fucking a libertarian. You're a human being. You're sexual. You have preferences, and you have all the rights to express those with whomever you want, however you want, and to be, to have nothing but consensual relationships in your life. That's why, I stand by the phrase trans rights are human rights. But let's give Jim a chance to weigh in here.
Well, I don't know. It's
from his dispassionate perspective.
I get the feeling like the same type of feeling of the all lives matter group argument. You know what I'm saying? It's like the super straight. I could see there being some people that would use the super straight to be I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, damn it, but a way to bash on trans people without, attaching themselves to I'm just saying I'm super straight. That's my way of saying trans people fucking disgust me. You know what I'm saying? I want a way to say they're disgusting.
I'm not attracted to a trans person. I want a term, and I want to get out there. You
care what you're.
But what you just said is transphobic. Adam, this show, if it got picked up into the community,
you're arguing and being so passionate on basically what I would guess, and I'm sure you'll disagree with me on this, but what I would guess is under 1% of the population of that entire classification's opinion about this. They took a minute argument within this whole transphobic reality we live in, and they took two little arguers, and they're blowing up that argument to.
I originally had made that assumption, Jim, that this is TikTok just making money, pushing both sides into the hate, because it ends up on your For You page. Like, there's only one way that happens.
That you're falling into it because you got attached to for whatever reason to TikTok.
I found out I have a new sexual orientation. It's super straight, and I'm being oppressed by the trans community. Thank you.
Jim. Let's give CJ at least the empathy he deserves for having an account just ganked, gone.
And
that's something that you invested in. And you're going to have a strong reaction and want to give the full force, appropriate response to the reason for that happening. And in this case, the reason looks like the super straight thing, but obviously, as CJ is well aware of, there are more significant motivations.
I think like the guy he showed a video of, this guy right here. I think he pointed out nice that it's sort of it is kind of a left-right thing that's happening in there. There's an undeniable left-right spectrum to it, and
becomes a proxy for that bullshit culture war that's really a left-right.
And you can't deny that there's something to be said about
I'm going to say one more thing about this, and then you each have, because I know you could each go for an hour.
I'm done. I'm finished.
1 minute. I'm going to say one more thing, then you each get 1 minute, and Jim will go last and directly take us into promos and kick you other two off the screen, and then we're going to come back for Steven's comment contest, okay? The last thing I have to say is that the politicization of sexuality is the weaponization of sexuality. And it's a weapon that is going to be used by politicians, by the powers that be, against we the people. So, shocking, right? one more way for politicians to fuck you. Steven.
Yeah. So here's my 1 minute. In the comments, we got a lot of people saying that this is just another way for them to divide and conquer our asses. I agree. The reason that we should stand up for everybody is all four of us, and I'm going to assume most people in this fucking chat are libertarians. That means that we are members of the party of principle. We do what is right because it's fucking right, not because it's nice, not because it's anything else, but right. We are the party of being morally correct. But here's the fucking deal. If you're TikTok and you say we're an open platform, you better fucking be an open platform, because what was it, 2 weeks ago, they banned Dr. Seuss books because of implied racism from 70 fucking years ago, whatever it was. But we can have two not even that attractive black women scissor on stage, and we're all supposed to give a fuck? No, you're not even that hot, Cardi B. I fucking said it. You're ugly as shit. You're fucking stupid. I don't give a fuck. I'm not being phobic. You're just not.
I think Cardi's hot.
Yeah, and just like that, YouTube has demonetized us again.
We got double demon. We're not being charged. We're not being charged.
We're being
to bring this to you.
My name is Jesus, bitch. You can't charge me.
Okay, all right.
All right, so TikTok has trained me how to speak in 60-second intervals. So 60 seconds on the clock, go. TikTok is profiting from child pornography and pedophilia. Do not let your children on TikTok. That is my first disclaimer. They are committing bank wire fraud. They are using this as a way to digitally genocide big accounts from people, and they're using this as the super straight, superficial thing. It is a trend. I agree. I do identify as super straight because I would not date a trans person, and I am already with somebody and having children with them. So I'm not looking for that. Second, I find it awfully odd that the community with 1 million labels finds this one label absolutely offensive. I also would like to say that, again, I will, if I don't get my TikTok back, I'm not going to cry about it. But I will say this, that there are a lot of people on there that are being used. And if you're just going to watch this and sit by and be passive, you're absolutely just as fucking guilty, in my opinion, of witnessing this digital genocide as the next person. So, you know, if that's the case, like I said, those are my final words. Have a good day or don't. Thanks for letting me on today, talk and at least defend myself there, Adam.
Thanks, EJ. That was a lot of fun. Jim, your final thoughts or promos, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I have no final thoughts on the trans argument. I'll only say go back and re-listen to the very first few words he just said in that 60-second rant about don't use TikTok, and investigate the deeper things that they're doing, so that hopefully there'll be some kind of class action or something. Not class action like legally, but, you know, group action is what I meant. So hopefully something can get done, because that is horrible no matter where it happens. And if there's any kind of child trafficking or child porn or anything going on like that, I literally haven't been on TikTok once. The only time TikTok videos I've seen are the ones that make it viral onto Facebook. So
yeah,
I don't have TikTok downloaded. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the format works, but it sounds scary based on what he just said in the first 30 seconds. I'm like, Jesus, just don't do it. Screw TikTok.
I got on it briefly and found it problematic for a number of reasons, and I'm
problematic to say the least. So anyways, if you want the links to anything that we've shared today, you can find them in the public Telegram channel at t.me/Adam versus the man. We have all the links there, and so you can keep up with everything that's going on with the show. But if you want to get more personal and go to our private Telegram channel in our producers club, you can go to adamversustheman.com. Oh, let me get my websites pulled back up. Let me tell you this real quick. Interrupt promotions. This was a producer note. I made a mistake because you have everything in nice blocks, and I did it so perfect. But when we went to the guest, I deleted all my tabs and then pulled up the stimulus tabs, because I thought that was the only one we had left. So I had accidentally got rid of the block before it. So right when you started bringing it up, I was like, where are those links at? Oh, so
don't worry, Jim. there will be more kids getting beheaded in some country in Africa we've already forgotten to come back to next week. But it felt good. We got all the critical urgent news out of the way for the week. We got Good News Friday coming up tomorrow.
That's going to be fun. So anyways, go to adamversustheman.com. The website's beautiful. CJ's put it together. There's us being live right now. You can click on Patreon and see the different levels that you can support the show, $1, $5, $10, or even $50 a month. My website's going crazy right now because there's probably 1 million people checking it out, so you better get in before they all do. $10 a month is where it's at. That's going to get you access to the Producers Club that I mentioned. That's a private club that you get all the links to the show, and you get the StreamYard link, so you can join the show on days that we call in. You get a little bit more personal interaction than you do on the public Telegram channel. So definitely check that out. And after you do that, you can, I stopped sharing the page. Man, I am just screwing up left and right today. After you do that, you can go back to the page, and then you can click on the Cigar Federation. That's our affiliate program. Check out all the cigars that they have. They have a ton of exotically flavored cigars for you to choose from. You can use promo code Adam10 while you're there to get 10% off of your entire order, no matter how big or small, and that helps Adam out. So definitely do that. And after that, if you're on Instagram, please check out at the Garden of Freedom, because there is where you can keep up with anything that Adam has going up in Gardenia. He's got I still have his recruiting picture up. This can be found on his Twitter or his Instagram at the Garden of Freedom. But they have all the other stuff too. Let me close this up. Show you all the other beautiful pictures that he has up in Gardenia. Marilyn's birthday was just the other day, so he's got some pictures you can go through and check out Gardenia in all its various seasons and beauty. Definitely check that out. That's all I got. Sorry I did such a rookie job today.
All right. Thank you, Jared. It's been an excellent show. Steven, contest winners, please.
So this is my transsexual rubber ducky. And he has joined me to announce that John Smith is now a member of the Producers Club. All you need to do, and Jim, if you'll throw your email up, Jim at thefreedomline.com, contact him, because John Smith, you now have not only a free Producers Club membership, but you can now be a co-host potentially. And Patrick Lewis.
What was the comment? What was the comment?
My dog is a trans cat. This is my trans.
Oh, good. All right.
And then Patrick Lewis. I don't know why the fuck I find this so funny, but flip some cow patties, Steven.
All right. I love it. Good call. So on this day in history, we just have one little highlight we're going to share to get out of here in a hurry. Thank you for sticking with us late today. 56 years ago today, Alexei Leonov became the first human to float in space. Yeah, 56 years ago today. Exiting a Soviet capsule, the Voskhod 2, for a 12-minute spacewalk. He almost did not make it back to the door after a suit unexpectedly inflated and stiffened, but he boldly let out some of the air in his suit and forcibly squeezed back through the small entrance to safety. Welcome back as a hero. Leonov completed man's first spacewalk just 10 weeks before the Americans. It was also on this day in history that Abraham Lincoln said, famously, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet." And with that, peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness and be excellent to each other.